Hey everybody, Eric here from Psychic Vacuum. I've seen a thread going around a little bit on YouTube, your 10 most played albums, and I just watched one from Dennis, Analog Archives, awesome channel, go check him out. Watching that kind of inspired me to just do my own. I just, off the cuff, pulled a bunch of stuff out of my collection. I pulled too much stuff, to be honest, and I could not bring myself to narrow it down to 10. So since my channel is going to be rock and metal based, I'm doing 10 metal albums, which will be up just before this, my 10 most played metal albums, and this is going to be my 10 most played rock albums. So I know it's kind of a shiesty thing to do, but I had to cheat. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And I know the line between rock and metal is pretty damn blurry too. I mean, I could have thrown Sabbath in rock, whatever. Anyway, without further ado, here's my what I pulled for my 10 most played rock albums. I'm going to try to do these in order of when I heard them. I didn't organize them that way. That's why I'm fiddling around with shit right now. But yeah, I'll just start off with this. I mean, it's on my shirt. Abbey Road from the Beatles. What I could have actually pulled was this one, because this is what originally got me into rock music. It's all my mom's fault. Hi Mom, if you're watching, thanks. Yeah, I put this on when I was probably 4 years old. Had never seen a record before, really, and this just blew my mind. Every song on here. But I don't really throw that on as much anymore. I like to throw on full albums. So this is probably my favorite Beatles album. I could have picked Revolver. I could have picked Sgt. Pepper. But man, this one just front to back is amazing. I mean, what do I need to say about this? Come Together, Something, Maxwell's Silver Hammer, Oh Darling, Octopus's Garden, I Want You, She's So Heavy, Here Comes the Sun, and then you got then you got the whole medley on the back half here too. I mean, it's just amazing. Yeah. If you somehow haven't heard this, much like the Black Sabbath in my last video, if you somehow haven't heard this, I don't know what you're doing here. Go listen to this. That's the end of the story. Next one up. In terms of when I heard them first, probably go with this one. Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. Man, this album really blew my mind back in high school. I mean, there's just really... This has a unique quality to it. Queens of the Stone Age don't sound like anyone else, really. No One Knows, First It Giveth. Man. Song for the Dead, The Sky Is Falling, Six Shooter, Hanging Tree, Go With the Flow, Gonna Leave You, Do It Again, God Is in the Radio, Another Love Song, and Song for the Deaf. Oh, and Mosquito Song at the end, too. I mean, just front to back, just an amazing album. Josh Homme, after he left Caius, which is another great band that I could have almost thrown on one of these lists. Dave Grohl drumming on here is fantastic. They're heavy, they're poppy, they're just super memorable. The songs are so well written. There's interesting instrumentation. There's great melodies all over the place. Fantastic riffing. I mean, again, if you somehow haven't heard this, just go listen to this right now. I love it. Next up, maybe I should have tossed this in before Queens of the Stone Age. It's hard to remember when I heard some of these albums before others, but Rush, Moving Pictures. Yeah, I should have probably put this in second, because back in early high school, I want to say, I heard YYZ on Guitar Hero of all places, and blew my mind. And I was like, I need to check this out, this band, because they don't sound like anything I've ever heard before. And I'm sure I had heard Tom Sawyer, Limelight on the radio at some point before that, but man, Limelight to this day is one of my favorite guitar solos of all time. Just so, it's not even that complex, but it's just so amazing. The melody in there. Every song on here, though, Tom Sawyer, Red Barchetta, YYZ, Limelight, The Camera Eye, Witch Hunt is so good. Vital Signs is underrated. Just a perfect album. Yeah, you could say Geddy's vocals are a little over the top for some people, but man, you should just listen to this until you get used to his vocals, because the music itself is so amazing. Any rock fan should be into this album, in my opinion. I don't see why you wouldn't be, because it's just perfect. Again, just my opinion, of course. If you don't like it, let me know why in the comments. Next up, let's see. It's honestly pretty hard to remember what I got into first. It might have been this one. I'll just go with this. Porcupine Tree, In Absentia. I could have even included this on my metal list. It's pretty fucking heavy, to be honest. Some of the riffing on here is just... This is where they really started to get heavy. These guys started out as a really psychedelic kind of band and moved into prog, did a little bit of kind of alt rock for a bit, and then they got heavy. And this is probably maybe their heaviest album. I mean, you got songs on here like Blackest Eyes. Steven Wilson, the guitarist and vocalist, was producing Opeth albums at the time, and he apparently kind of ripped off the riff for Blackest Eyes from Michael Ockerfeldt of Opeth. But whatever, it's a great song. Trains is just a beautiful rock song. Lips of Ashes, totally like atmospheric and psychedelic and kind of haunting. Sound of Muzak is a great just rock song with some cool time signatures and shit in it. Gravity Eyelids is pretty heavy and progressive and psychedelic. Wedding Nails, Prodigal, The Creator has a master tape. Heart Attack and a Lay-By, it's beautiful. Strip the Soul is heavy as hell. Collapse the Light into Earth. I'm not going to talk about every song, but just a masterpiece in my opinion. Masterpiece of modern progressive rock or progressive metal, and it's really what got me into prog rock. This was one of the first things I heard beyond Rush and stuff like that. A little bit of Pink Floyd. So yeah, killer album, give it a listen. Next up, I'm gonna go... Might have been this one. Continuing on the prog rock theme. King Crimson, Lark's Tongues in Aspic. I mean, again, what do I say? It's just another masterpiece. Sorry, I'm going to turn the light on here. Looks like it's getting a little dark, but... another masterpiece, in my opinion. Just perfect start to finish. When I first heard this... the first song especially, Lark's Tongues in Aspic Part 1, is like 13 minutes long, I'm pretty sure. It's got all kinds of weird percussion and crazy violin stuff. But, man, those riffs when they hit are just so heavy. And you got so many other great songs on here too. Book of Saturday, Exiles. Exiles is just... I mean, this album contains some of the most beautiful and some of the most intense and brutal music I've ever heard, to be honest. It's not brutal in a metal, death metal kind of way or anything like that, but it's just so intense and visceral. And then you get a song like Exiles, which the melodies are just so so beautiful. They take me to my happy place. I'm just like sitting on a riverbank in the forest or something, and just like, or a beach, and I don't know. It's just amazing. You get Easy Money on side 2, which is just a ripper. The Talking Drum, which is a cool instrumental, like, jam kind of track. And then Lark's Tongues and Aspic Part 2, which is proto-prog metal, for sure, in my opinion. Covered by Dream Theater later. I actually heard that version first, but this is the definitive version on here, for sure. Just another masterpiece. I mean, I'm saying that with probably every album I'm showing here, but that's why they're my most played. What else do you want to hear? Staying on that kind of tangent too, Jethro Tull. There's so many Jethro Tull albums I could have picked. But one thing I found doing these videos, and I could have said in the metal one as well, there's certain albums that are some of my favorites of all time, but aren't my most played. Such as Thick as a Brick. I'm not going to pull them right now, but Thick as a Brick, or a good example on the metal side would be Pleiades Dust by Gorguts. Those albums are just so dense that I got to be in the right mood to play them, you know. You got to be able to sit down for 30-40 minutes and just concentrate. And so these albums that I'm showing are ones that I can pretty much toss on anytime and just enjoy the hell out of them. And this is one of those. Like I said, I could have pulled a bunch of different Tull albums. Stand Up, I mean, Aqualung, Thick as a Brick, Minstrel in the Gallery, Passion Play, Stormwatch, Heavy Horses, Songs from the Wood. I mean, it's all great stuff, but this is just, it's got that perfect balance of blues rock and prog rock and folk and hard rock. It's just amazing. Man, with you there to help me, starts things off. You got that crazy part, that heavy part with the flute and stuff. Nothing to Say, Inside, Sun, for Michael Collins, Jeffrey and Me. To Cry You a Song is, oh man, so good with those harmonized riffs. A Time for Everything, Teacher, Playing Time, Saucity, You're a Woman, or Society, however you say it. But man, just front to back, just every song on here is fantastic. I'm not going to go through them. This video is going to be way too long, probably as it is. But yeah, I've been staring at this. This back cover is kind of cool with the cutouts there. Anyway, just fantastic. If you're into 70s rock at all, hard rock, prog rock, folk rock, check this out. It's amazing. Next one I probably heard. I mean, this is loosely based on when I heard them, but like I said, I'm not sure. Alice in Chains, Dirt. Oh man, sorry about that glare. I could have even put this in the metal video because these guys are basically a metal band, but a lot of people lump them in with the grunge scene, so I figured I'd just toss them in here. This album just never gets old. I mean, it's got that emotional depth to it. And a lot of songs on here are just emotionally very heavy. But for anyone who's ever been in a bad place mentally, these are songs you can just relate to, and when you put them on, they just make you feel better because you realize that there's a lot of other people that are going through the same kind of shit. And this album is just eternally playable for me. Not only the lyrics, I'm not even a lyric guy, but this is one album where the lyrics do really get to me. But man, Lane Staley's vocals, Jerry Cantrell's riffing on here, his solos too, the tone and the solo in Them Bones, just amazing. You got other songs on here. I mean, everything is great, but especially, it's hard to read the song titles on here, to be honest. Rooster, though, Dirt, Angry Chair, Down in a Hole, Wood. Man, just amazing. Amazing songwriting, amazing riffs, amazing vocals and lyrics. The drumming and the bass playing, too, is just fantastic. Yeah. A masterpiece, yet again. Alright, gonna go with this one next. Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Zuma. Again, there's a lot of albums I could have picked by Neil Young. Everybody knows this is Nowhere, Rust Never Sleeps, Harvest, After the Gold Rush, On the Beach. I mean, there's so many. But this might actually be my favorite. It's hard to say. This is just a perfect encapsulation of the different elements that he would use in his music in the 70s. You got awesome hard rock songs on here like Drive Back. Cortez the Killer is just epic. You got folky stuff like Pardon My Heart, Through My Sails, Looking for a Love. I mean, every song on here is just fantastic. And I love the aesthetic of Neil Young's 70s stuff especially. He's one of my favorite artists of all time, partly because of the fact that, like, he would lay down a guitar solo or a vocal or whatever, and the first take would be what goes on the album. And you can hear it. You can feel the authenticity and the emotion in it. It just comes through so well. And yeah, I was introduced by my dad to Neil Young when I was a kid. I remember listening to like Harvest Moon on road trips and stuff, and it took me a while to get back into him. You know, I went through that phase of, I don't know, the stuff my parents listen to isn't that cool, or whatever, stupid teenager bullshit, but I came back around, and yeah, Neil Young is amazing. One of my favorite albums of all time. So, yeah, gotta be on the list. Two more left here. We'll go with Blue Oyster Cult. Fires of Unknown Origin. Again, another artist that I could have picked so many albums by. But this one is one of their most consistent albums, I would say. Fire of Unknown Origin just rips. That bass line in that song to start things off is just amazing. Burnin' For You is the single off the album. Fantastic pop rock, hard rock song. Veteran of the Psychic Wars was in the heavy metal movie soundtrack. classic. About half of this album actually was recorded for the heavy metal soundtrack, but they decided to only use one song, unfortunately. But I mean, there's other great songs on that soundtrack, of course. Every song here, though: Soul Survivor, Heavy Metal, The Black and the Silver, Vengeance, The Pact, After Dark, Joan Crawford, and Don't Turn Your Back. I mean, every song here is just fantastic. Buck Dharma on guitar, just killing it. Love Eric Bloom's vocals. All the guys in the band just on full speed, full attack, writing amazing songs, playing amazingly. And man, that album cover, you can't go wrong with that. Just so weird and trippy and creepy. The back one too is awesome. Yeah. Amazing album. Just go listen to it. That's all I gotta say. And finally, David Bowie, Low. You could say this is only half a rock album, because the side B on this is basically ambient stuff. But man, this album just gets me emotionally in a way that a lot of albums, almost no other album does. It's hard to put my finger on this album. I did a deep dive on David Bowie or a couple deep dives with Jeff, Gas Masks and Hand Grenades. Go check out his channel. Awesome stuff. So if you want to hear me talk more about this album, go check that out if you have 5 hours to spare or whatever it was. Yeah, just amazing stuff. Working with Brian Eno on this album. This is the first album when he got sober after being on a diet of cocaine, bell peppers, and milk, allegedly. So this was a weird transitional period for him, but it turned out some amazing music. Sorry about that. And yeah, just every song on here is amazing. If I had to pick out one for you to check out, it might be Sound and Vision, but it's hard to say. Everything on here is just so amazing. Masterpiece. Absolutely. There you go. And like the last video, I'm gonna cheat again. Those are my 10, but I had to pull a few honorable mentions here because man, it's just so hard to narrow it down to 10. So just gonna run through these quick. Pink Floyd, Animals, another masterpiece. You only got 5 songs on here, and 2 of them are super short. The other 3 are just epic. Man, just an absolute masterpiece. Probably my favorite Pink Floyd album. That's a tough call, but it's just I don't know what to say about it. Just listen to it if you haven't heard it. You should have already, but there you go. Steely Dan, Asia. Such an amazing album. Just, I don't even know what to call this. What do you call Steely Dan, man? They are a rock band. They're pop. They're funk. They're jazz. They're fusion. They're almost prog in a way, but the songs on here, man, and the amount of amazing musicians on here. There are like 40-something musicians on here or whatever, recording the album, session guys and whatever, and just timeless classic. One of the best sounding albums of all time too, along with Animals like I just showed, but just a total masterpiece start to finish. And yeah, check it out. This one, I mean, again, what do I need to say about this? Any of these 4 that I'm gonna show could have been in my top 10, to be honest. It's just splitting hairs to leave them out. And I feel like garbage, to be honest, to leave these out. So that's why I'm including them. Who's Next? Absolute masterpiece front to back. Excuse me. I could have included Quadrophenia. It's a toss-up between those 2. But on here you got Bob O'Reilly, Bargain, Love Ain't for Keeping My Wife, Song Is Over, Getting in Tune, Going Mobile, Behind Blue Eyes, Won't Get Fooled Again. I mean, just one of the best albums of all time, probably objectively. So, yeah, love it. Play it all the time. And finally, just talked about this earlier, or later last week, I guess, on Jeff's channel, Gas Masks and Hand Grenades again. Thin Lizzy, Johnny the Fox, my favorite Thin Lizzy album. And, man, just completely amazing stuff on here. A blend of so many different styles. Thin Lizzy did a huge array of different genres. They had some folky stuff. They had some pop. They had some metal, 70s metal. On here, they have some of everything, to be honest. Not so much folk, but just every song on here is amazing. Even the slower songs have grown on me over the years, and I just love this album. I play it a hell of a lot. If I was going to pick out one song, maybe Massacre. Check out Massacre. A proto-metal epic, just heavy as hell. Yeah, amazing stuff. There it is. Again, almost half an hour. I cheated. Sorry about that. But I guess I just like too much music. I love too much music. There's too much amazing music out there to only pick 10 albums. So there you go. I did my best. If you like this, click that like button. Of course, that helps out. Follow me on Instagram. I forgot to mention that in my other videos. Psychic Vacuum 1995, I think, is my thing on there. I haven't posted anything yet, but I'll be probably linking some of these videos. Yeah. Subscribe if you like this. Let me know if you have heard some of these albums. I hope you've heard some of them. If you haven't heard some of these, let me know what you think after giving them a listen or whatever. If you have heard some of them, let me know your thoughts. Just bullshit with me in the comments, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Anyway, want to hear from you. Till next time, peace out, and have a good one.